All you need is a willingness to help others. Our volunteers believe the blessings they receive far exceed the services they offer. Will you consider serving, caring, and making a difference? Call today, 873-7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
Veterans are the foundation upon which our freedom is built. Listen to The Source, WOCA, each Thursday at 9 a.m. to Veterans News with Hank Whittier from Vets Helping Vets. You'll hear tributes, information on veterans issues, and stories that will make you laugh, cry, and feel proud. Veterans News always focuses on the military, past and present, and on our first responders. Veterans News is brought to you each week by Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nursery, keeping you blooming since 1952.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. It is 83 degrees. Temperatures today look like they'll reach 93 before we're done. Partly cloudy skies, really only a small mention of rain, 20% chance for today. In fact, and I take that back, it's 15%. They've dropped it a bit. So it looks like they, meaning the National Weather Service, they do not expect rain today, maybe a tiny chance. But tomorrow, the chance of rain does climb to around 50%. And that's in the afternoon. Temperatures tomorrow are about the same as they are today, with the low to mid-90s being the expected high. I cannot look a whole lot farther without wondering about this tropical depression out in the Atlantic, because I see rain about a week from now, and I don't know if that's from the tropical depression or not. But let me tell you about this thing. Right now, it is simply being called Tropical Depression 4. It is way out in the ocean, but its projected path on most of the models show it heading toward us, if not to us. If it becomes a storm, it'll be named Don. There was a news report yesterday that the expectations were that it would become strong enough to qualify for a name yesterday, but that did not happen yet. So it's still being called Tropical Depression 4. It's got an advisory too, for those of you who keep up on that sort of stuff. And it was, I'm just giving you a rough sketch here. It was at 5 a.m. this morning. It was at 40 degrees west longitude and about 12 degrees, I guess, is that north latitude, right? Is that how you say that? So that's that. Okay, and it is moving in this direction. So let me tell you what else they say, rather than me just trying to read the map for you. This is the National Weather Service, we are watching a tropical disturbance in the Atlantic this week, which could become the season's fourth tropical storm if it strengthens. If so, it would require the name Don. It would also be about 7 weeks ahead of average for the fourth storm of the season. Yesterday, the National Hurricane Center was giving it a 70% probability of becoming a tropical depression or a tropical storm by the end of the week as it travels west-northwest. The Colorado State University Department of Atmospheric Science increased its hurricane outlook yesterday. It is now predicting 15 named storms this year, 8 of which the department believes will become hurricanes, which is higher than normal. The average per season is 12 named storms and 6 hurricanes. The system currently in the Atlantic does not seem to pose a risk of becoming a hurricane. The area of thunderstorms is disorganized, and the ocean water temperature beneath it is only marginally warm for tropical cyclone development. So that's the good news for us. But it is coming our way, which leads me back to the first thing I said, which is there is rain mentioned pretty much every day, about a week, more so, like 70% chance of rain next week. So I'm thinking that 70% chance of rain is because of this storm called number 4. They don't call it tropical storm. What do they call it actually? Tropical Depression 4.
Tropical Depression 4, you said.
Yeah, Tropical Depression 4. So that being said, I wanted to jump over to the things you normally hear radio and TV folks talking about when we bring up this kind of thing. Those of you who've lived here a long time, you can go take a nap, take a walk, because I'm not going to tell you anything new.
Yeah.
But if you're new to the area, or you just want to hear Robert and I talk about something we've talked about every year, more than once a year, It's the important checklist, things you probably would want to go get now so that you are prepared in the event that a storm or a hurricane does come. So the list is pretty obvious. Let me just go through it. Flashlights. You would not believe how important a flashlight is in the middle of the night if the electricity has gone out. And I'm guessing everyone has experienced this, whether it's from a storm or not. The thing with a storm, especially if you're if you're living alone, like I do, and you're in a mobile home like I do.
It's nice having your own place.
It is, and the electricity goes out, like has happened. A flashlight is a nice thing to have. Anyway, battery-operated radio. WOCA, by the way, is an emergency alert station, just so you know that. We do stay on the air during storms. We do make sure that we get the word out. We keep up with it. We've done this. We haven't had to do it in the last few years, but when we need to, we are here. We are giving information constantly, even in the middle of the night, and we keep the power turned up high so that we reach as far as possible. So a radio, flashlights, have some matches or some way of creating a flame if you need to light a candle. Rain gear is always good. Duct tape, you never know. A duct tape is a pretty cool thing to have.
Exactly.
A first aid kit is always good to have. A battery-powered or a wind-up clock so that you can at least know what time it is. Plastic garbage bags come in handy. You just never know. I mean, right now they're garbage bags, but they could be, your way of running through the rain without getting soaking wet. A fire extinguisher is always a good thing to have on hand. I know I don't have one. Most of us don't have them. So, yeah, you can get them at Sears, I think, right?
Yeah, you can get them.
Scissors. I know it's a simple thing, but scissors are a good thing to have handy. Can openers, clean clothing. If you have food in cans, you can't do much with it if you don't have a can opener, unless you're Popeye. Heavy gloves are always good. Blankets and pillows. I know it's Florida, but believe it or not, it will be cold if you get wet. And they get out of the rain, you want to dry off and put a blanket around the kids. Bottled water is always a good thing to have on hand. Put a gallon of water in the fridge. Just leave it in there. Or some people like to put it in the freezer, and then you have that frozen water for a while.
Right.
Bottled juice. You have a couple of coolers, one for drinks, one for food. That's the recommended way to prepare. Of course, you wouldn't do that till just as the storm is upon you. Make sure you have plenty of pet food, some kind of a plan for your pet if you have an animal.
And pet medication.
Remove all the outdoor items that could be blowing around. Trim the dead branches from the trees because that dead branch doesn't look big from the ground, but it's probably heavy enough to put a hole in your roof. Not to scare you, just to prepare you. If you need to, board up the windows before a storm gets to you. And if you're just tuning in, don't worry. There's nothing right now imminent. We're just kind of doing this early warning checklist because there is a tropical depression out there called simply number 4. Could become Don. If it does become Don, it does look like it's heading this way. Nothing is indicating that it'll be jolted out of the way, but if it keeps going on the track it's going, it'll hit like the Georgia-Florida state line. So, but it looks like it'll be small according to what they're saying. I'm just letting you know, just in case. Tweezers are good to have. Antiseptic solution. What would you use?
Band-Aids.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Any medication you or the children need, or anybody you're taking care of. Insect repellent is always good because they do come out.
Yeah, they do.
The mosquitoes do find a way to make it through that storm.
Yeah.
Anything that needs to be protected from the water, go get a waterproof container. They sell these everywhere. And it's a really great idea. Get it now, even if there is no storm coming.
Right, that way you have it on hand.
Put your stuff in a waterproof container. Yes. Aside from that, if you can microchip your pet, just in case, they get out loose, nobody knows who they belong to, that microchip will help authorities be able to figure out whose dog is whose.
Yep, or cat.
Which is kind of cool. Or cat, thank you. It says contact your local animal shelter ahead of time if you have any questions. And this is a good one, and I'm guilty of not having this. Make sure you prepare a grab-and-go bag. This is always. And make sure you think of your animal, your pet, when you have a grab-and-go bag.
And your kids, too, for fun things in there.
Yeah, the grab-and-go bag should
backpack.
be in the event that somebody says, get out right now, and you don't have any time to do anything, there's a bag, and everything is in there that you might need,
Yep.
It's not a bad idea. Put $100 in there or something. Tuck it in one of the corners.
Yeah, you need cash too because sometimes the ATMs are down.
ATMs will go down. Oh my gosh, yes. There's so many reasons. So just so you know, and again, this isn't to frighten you. There is nothing knocking on your door, nothing right around the corner as far as a hurricane or a tropical storm is concerned. But, there is this tropical depression out there. It's called number 4. It could become Don if it gets stronger. And whether it's not a tropical storm officially, or it looks like it's coming our way.
Yeah.
And it looks like it'll be here about a week from now. So just keep that in mind. All right, we are going to take a little break. I believe we have a lady who wants to tell us about how to talk to the kids about the birds and the bees.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Partly sunny today with a high of 91 to 94. Thunderstorm this evening, then partly cloudy tonight, a low of 73 to 77. Tomorrow and Saturday, we'll have a late-day thunderstorm. Otherwise, sunshine will mix with clouds. We're looking at highs between 91 to 95 both days. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
There are only a few things in life that you can be certain will always be around: death, taxes, the pursuit of happiness, and computers. As they continue to advance at an epic pace, the one absolute certainty about them is that they'll break. It's not an if, it's a when. And when it happens, bring it to the only company in Ocala that's certified in Apple and Microsoft, Ocala Mac and PC Repair. They even offer on-site computer repair service, so they come to you. And if you do drop it off, you can check your repair status online. Ocala Mac and PC Repair is a family-owned and operated company that can do everything from mobile repair to wireless networks, fixing viruses, data recovery, even building and installing new systems. Visit online at ocalamacpc.com. In person, 1713 East Silver Springs Boulevard, or give them a call, 352-566-8324. That's 352-566-8324. Ocala Mac and PC Repair.
Here are today's headlines from The Source, WOCA. The ink on Governor Scott's signature on the medical marijuana law is barely dry, but attorney John Morgan is ready to sue. The high-powered Orlando attorney will be in Tallahassee today to file his formal legal challenge of the new law, according to Capitol Bureau reporter Troy Kinsey. Morgan is suing because the Florida legislature banned smoking in the law that expands medical marijuana use in the state. The law implements Amendment 2, which was overwhelmingly approved by voters last November. Some advocates say smoking as a delivery method offers more benefits than the other options lawmakers approved, which includes edibles and vaping. Authorities report an explosion yesterday at Eglin Air Force Base did not cause any significant injuries, but did cause some concerns for a while. Officials say the explosion at the McKinley Climatic Lab sent a cloud of potentially dangerous smoke into the air. That prompted authorities to set up a 1,000-foot cordon and to evacuate the immediate area while the smoke was allowed to dissipate. Officials said a shelter-in-place order was also issued as a safety precaution. Authorities said the smoke likely contained methyl chloride, which can cause neurological effects as well as impact to the heart, liver, and kidneys. There were no reports of exposure to the chemical. Yesterday evening saw a success story for rocket maker SpaceX. The company's Falcon 9 rocket launched successfully, sending a communication satellite payload to Earth orbit. SpaceX had earlier tried twice in 2 days, Sunday and Monday, to launch the Falcon 9. In both cases, a scrub was called. Yesterday, however, was the payoff for SpaceX and its customer. The launch was flawless by all accounts. One thing that was different about this launch was the fact that the first stage of the Falcon 9 splashed down into the Atlantic Ocean. It has become a familiar part of SpaceX's launches to watch and listen for a landing of the first stage. SpaceX, for most missions, has designed the first stage to be landed and reused. In this case, however, every gram of fuel was needed to push the payload into position to climb to its designated orbit. That meant no fuel to spare to return the core stage. Less than 1 week after the federal government increased interest rates on federal student loans, Florida U.S. Senator Bill Nelson says he's filing legislation to cut student loan rates across the board and allow borrowers with existing student loans to refinance to new lower rates. On Saturday, federal student loan interest rates for undergraduate students increased from 3.76% to 4.45%. If approved, Nelson's bill would cap rates for undergraduates at 4% and allow borrowers with existing student loans that have a rate higher than 4% to refinance their loans to the new lower rate, a move that's currently barred under existing law. More than 43 million Americans currently have outstanding student loan debt. In Florida alone, students graduating with a 4-year degree leave college with more than $24,000 in student loan debt on average, according to the available data. Disney recently announced plans to change a popular scene in its Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. The auction scene, which features the infamous redhead, will undergo a makeover. She will be given a new role as a pirate, and instead of being auctioned as a bride, she'll help take valuables from the townspeople. However, Disney's decision to change the classic scene has not gone over well with some die-hard Disney fans who want the redhead kept in her original form. An Illinois man has started a change.org petition with the title, quote, "We wants to keep the redhead," unquote, similar to the phrase pirates shout in the scene. As of yesterday afternoon, the petition had 27,500 electronic signatures. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Hey, Ocala, if you missed out on the fabulous BOGO on crepe myrtles last week at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, don't worry. Due to popular demand,